What up, my party people? I'm going to show you how to organize Instagram. What do I mean by that? Well, you'll see. So, you'll see I have 1,500 followers here. My other Instagram, I have around 7. The reason why I have 2 is because my bigger Instagram got shut down for about a month and I needed a way to work, so I created a new one. So now I work 2. I don't recommend doing it. It's a lot of work. Anyways, it's important to keep people organized really well so that you can come back to them when you need to. What do I mean by that? Well, you will see. So, first and foremost, I'm going to talk to you about the importance of having a private profile. Reason why it's important to have a private profile is because you want to protect your potentials from Thrive distributors, Herbalife distributors, Beachbody distributors, Q Sciences distributors. It's very important that you don't let competing companies' distributors on your page so that they don't steal your potentials. Also, if they are an It Works distributor and I have not told you to follow them because they are a leader, or I have not told you about them because they're a sideline sister, do not add them because there are some shady distributors who will steal your potentials. So I don't recommend adding them as well either. And that's another reason why it's important to have a private profile, because anybody who tries to add you, you can check out their profile before you add them and before they can see your people and steal your potentials. Another reason why, and just as important that it is to have a private profile, is so that when you add somebody and you have a private profile, they're more likely to add you back because they're curious as to why you added them, who you are, what you're about. So it's a better way to get followers. If you have a public profile and people can see your profile, they don't have a reason to follow you, which means you're not going to you're not going to show up in their timeline and you're not going to show up in their stories. Also, when you have a private profile and you're adding people, you can add them to collections. And that's what this training is really about. What do I mean by collections? You see this little flag right here. You can add people to collections. Why is that important? Well, when people add me, I add them to a list of whatever the quarter is that I added them in. So Q1 of 2019, I will put them in that list. If they are over 18, I will add them to a followers list. Why over 18? Well, because you have to be 18 to join the business. And how do you tell? Well, if they're over 18, they will probably, and they're a college student, they will probably have their college in their bio or their sorority in their bio. So that's a good way to tell if somebody's over 18. If you look at their profile and they are drinking alcohol, good way to determine whether they are over age or not. Some people post underage drinking pictures on their Instagram. That's their deal. Also, it will allow you to have a quick list of people whose followers you want to follow. So if they're 18, it's likely a lot of their followers are over age as well. So when you're using Captivate, which is another training on my YouTube here, so check that training out as well. When you're using Captivate, it's an easy list for you to come back to and say, oh, okay, these are all the people over 18 whose followers I want to follow because I want them following me back. So, it's a good way for you to find potentials to add. And it's not so big of a deal when you don't have a whole lot of followers, but it is a big deal when you have 7,000 followers and you're trying to find somebody over 18 to follow their followers, because you don't want to spend a whole lot of time trying to find those people. Also, anybody who talks to me about the business is going to go in a potential distributor list. Anybody who talks to me about the products is going to go into a potential loyal customer list. So you'll see these are blank because I took my picture out. Now I'm re-adding them. Reason being is because I don't want you to see my potentials either. Not that I don't trust you, but I don't want you stealing my potentials or anybody else on YouTube stealing my potentials. So, why is it important to have these people in a list? Well, if you're trying to get distributors, then you want to water that seed. So if you've talked to them about it or if they've talked to you about it, then you can come back to this list really quick and find their profile, which makes it easier for you to go and interact with them. Same with loyal customers. It's just a quick way to keep them saved on a list so that you can come back to them and either interact with them or follow up with them about the business opportunity. So that's why I do that. Same with these quarterly lists. So it's easy for me. Maybe we haven't talked about the business, but maybe I just want to make sure that I'm interacting with them, so they're looking at my page. That's very, very, very important. The more you interact, the more people are going to interact with you. And the more they interact with you and like and comment on your photos, the higher you're going to be in everybody's algorithm as well. And again, with the followers list, those are people whose followers I want to follow. Why do I have boutiques on here? Boutiques are important as well. So another way, and I talked about this in the Captivate video, you want to follow people who have the same interests as you. So if they like minimal jewelry and you're going to a local boutique, that's a good boutique for you to follow. If you're with dog rescue like I am, it's a good idea to follow people who either like the same breed that you do or like the same local rescues that you do. Things like that. You have a favorite coffee shop, go follow their followers, right? Now, you don't want to follow somebody who has you don't want to follow followers from somebody who has like more than 400 likes on a photo, or if they have a whole lot of followers, like tens of thousands of followers, you don't want to follow those followers as well, because you're probably going to end up following a lot of boutiques or a lot of underage people or a lot of people who maybe are catfish, things like that. Or you'll find, a lot of these fitness models, like there's a lot of guys on their timeline. And I'm not saying you look at guys as potentials, but when you start adding random guys that you don't actually know in real life, you'll see it gets really weird. So I just stick with females. It's a personal preference of mine. So this is just an idea of how